Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. On our trip to Lisbon, Shay gives us his thoughts on the city and a small exposition for newcomers that this relic came from the time before Adam and Eve, because apparently they have the information on this specific relic, I guess. Or maybe I'm just missing something, whatever. Once inside the church that the box pointed out, Shay looks for a way to enter the temple underneath the church. He uses his hidden blades to activate certain mechanisms inside the church walls to open the secret passageway, and of course nobody hears the entrance to the temple open because they're so busy praying.
This must be it. The precursor site.
Look, this is where the plot falls apart. Pun intended. Shay enters the temple. He carefully grabs the artifact, unknowing what will happen, and when he touches it, it turns into dust, fades away, and leads to an earthquake to happen in Lisbon, with Shay barely surviving it, making his trip back to the homestead. Okay, I honestly don't know where to start with this one, and it might even take a while to explain it even. So these temples, yes, multiple temples that the box had shown, cause earthquakes to happen when someone messes or touches the artifact inside the temples. Which of course, like I said, leads to earthquakes to happen that will cause the deaths of thousands, no even millions of people that are in the area or near the area where the temple is located. Why would someone make temples like this? What is its purpose? Who designed it like this? And how many of them exactly are there? So did the first civilization create these temples to prevent earthquakes from happening, or did they make them for other purposes like war? In the official AC Essential Guide, think of it as a small Bible that contains the first 9-8 years of Assassin's Creed lore in one book that was stated this. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. The seismic temples, that's what they are called. The seismic temples were created as a separate network. Each temple contained a piece of precursor technology, erroneously assumed to be pieces of Eden, that if disturbed triggered large-scale seismic event. This network of temples may have been designed to stabilize the Earth's crust, or defense mechanism. If you have missed what I said, this network of temples may have been designed to stabilize the Earth's crust, or a defense mechanism. So we don't exactly know what the purpose behind these temples were. But okay, let's try to apply the idea of this being made to stabilize the Earth's crust, or was made as a defense mechanism, or perhaps even both. The first civilization created these temples because they wanted to make sure earthquakes will not happen. Fair enough, maybe they wanted to save their lives by doing that. If we could make machines temples with that kind of power today, I can see governments place them in their countries, but if you wanted to prevent an earthquake, then why design it? If it is touched by a single person, it will stop working and kill everyone in a certain mile radius. What if there was a war and someone shoots cannon fire or throws grenades close to the temple? Will the artifact not be removed from its place because the ground is shaking, causing an earthquake to happen, killing everyone nearby? And if it was made for war scenarios or as a defense mechanism, does that mean you have to send one man or woman inside the temple to remove the artifact from its place? Isn't there any other way to activate it? A remote control will do wonders for this. Just place it in a military building or somewhere and make it connected to the temple, and with one simple press of the button, you basically activate an earthquake. I don't know really, I'm just trying to find solutions, but it is hard because there's almost no information on why these temples were created, why they exist, or why they have such big design flaws, which could cause more lives to be lost than necessary. Another thing is the access of the temples. The first time we see Shay encounter these temples, there was only one exit, which was the entrance of the temple. And the temple was really small. When he touched the artifact, it caused a giant earthquake to happen, killing all the people in a certain mile radius. But when Shay goes to another temple from this special network, it's much bigger with more exits than just one. And in that temple I'm talking about right now, when the artifact is removed from its place, it doesn't make a lot of damage. Wait, what? So bigger the temple, the less destruction it brings? I'm confused. And the exits in the temples are questionable too. So why would the first civilization make parkour platforms at all? Is it to prevent people from getting in, or is it to prevent them from getting out? Okay, I don't get this. It's already hard to figure out the motivations or the idea behind the temples, and now it seems like the first civilization didn't even need to make the temples because this one didn't do shit. Are all the temples different from one another? Another thing I want to point out is that the temples remind me of the one that was used in Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. In Black Flag, Robert, aka the Sage Juno's husband, opens the door to the observatory. Once we, the player, enter the temple, Robert explains to us that he has to turn off the defense mechanism so that Achilles and Liam activate defense mechanisms in the temple. Was there a sage needed to remove the artifact? I'm confused. Now that I compare the temples though, they are similar in many ways. They look the same, but with a colored palette difference here and there. With laser energy beams coming out of the walls and floors, trying to cut off your way or try to upstate murder you. With the artifact located at the end of the temple. But why does this all matter, you ask me? Why does it matter if it's only one kind of temple? And you have all the right to ask me that. And I'm happy to explain it. You see here, ladies and gentlemen, there was always or some sort of justification behind the temple's faults in the Assassin's Creed franchise. In Assassin's Creed 2, we enter the Vatican Vault and meet Minerva. I do have a few questions on the design choice of pressing 2 stones on the wall to get closer to the vault. And the whole Vatican Vault situation does make you question on what happened to the Vatican Vault in the modern day era. But here's the thing, here's the one big difference between the temples from Rogue and the vault from Assassin's Creed 2. The vault was used to communicate to Desmond Miles in the main storyline. In Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Ezio left his Apple of Eden behind in the Temple of Juno underneath the Colosseum, which is also kind of questionable that there is a temple beneath the Colosseum. But the thing here is, the temple was used so that Ezio could lock away his Apple of Eden so that Desmond Miles could one day get it. So there was an actual reason why this temple was there. The Grand Temple in Assassin's Creed 3 existed to find and create solutions to stop the upcoming global catastrophe, plus helping Desmond Miles. In Black Flag, the observatorium was made to basically spy on people, so yes, temples have weird design choices or weird places where they were put in the world, but all of these temples at least have a reason to exist in the AC universe, with designs that don't really contradict its purpose or make you question why they even exist or why they were designed that way. So why is it that these seismic temples are the only ones that don't have a good or clear justification behind their existence? Why is it that this specific network of temples has different design choices for each temple that was shown in the game for no real reason? Why is it that seismic temples that cause earthquakes are able to kill hundreds of thousands of innocent people by just touching the artifact? Is there a manual lying around somewhere? Did Minerva and everyone else plan this? Who designed the artifact to even look like this? Why is it that the precursor box needed to guide us to this specific network of temples from all the temples and vaults in existence? People might try to answer this by saying it doesn't matter, because the story was never about uncovering the mysteries behind the temples. But the temples are massively important for the game's storyline. It's the whole reason why all of this started to begin with anyway. It is this network of temples that turns Shay on the assassins. How many of these temples are there? Can anyone just accidentally activate an earthquake in Italy if a temple is located there? Are you saying that we should just give the writers and patch on the shoulder and say, you didn't do your best this time around, nor did you do your worst, so here's your money? Another writer might fill in the plot issues or mistakes that you made one day. Don't worry, we also have fans on the internet desperately trying to come up with theories to fill in the gaps with headcanons to fix your mess of a story. I have a question for the viewer here, the man or woman who is watching my video now. What does this network of temples that can cause earthquakes to happen add to the world of Assassin's Creed? What does it change? One interesting idea that could come out of this question is that Shay never turned rogue. But why not just write a different story with Shay just joining the Templars because he agrees with their ideology? Or just something justified in the AC lore? The only thing that I get out of this is that the pieces of Eden are more importantly to the earth than I used to think. Wait, is the whole world a piece of Eden? You know what, I'm going to try to move on from the temples for now, or else we're still here tomorrow. Shay touches the artifact, causing an earthquake to happen. Making his way out of the city, we see that poor innocent bystanders are screaming out of fear when their world is falling apart around them, looking for the family members and friends, praying that they're still alive, or other people just running for their life. Shay keeps running and survives everything thrown in his face. What a lucky fellow. I wish I had as much luck as him. Shay, somehow alive, swims his way back towards the ship.
do this to them?
God had nothing to do with this.
So this is what we all know as the defining moment for Shay in the story. Shay blames Achilles for knowing what will happen if Shay tampered with the artifact. So he lashes out on Achilles for it. Hope and Liam have to step in front of Shay to protect Achilles, or else the guy will literally jump at Achilles. Well, that's what I assume what they are thinking. I might sound like a dick here, but I will also push Shay away from my mentor if you just storm into the room with fake scriptures of killing entire cities that he apparently knew about, and then you're gonna act like you're gonna jump on the guy and beat him up. So here's the problem with this. Achilles wasn't aware that if you disturb the temples, it will cause an earthquake. Don't believe me? Well, listen to this.
The ground shook and the ocean waves crashed over Port-au-Prince.
How many were lost?
Thousands. No family was left untouched.
I hate to bring up practical matters at a time like this, but did Macandal's man complete his task before the earthquake hit?
I cannot know. Vonredi has not been found. He was a strong Maroon, one of Macandal's best students.
Such a shame. So we cannot know if he found the site.
Indeed. But if there was a temple under the waves, I doubt it is still standing.
I'm gonna repeat it for those who have missed it.
So we cannot know if he found the site.
Indeed. But if there was a temple under the waves, I doubt it is still standing.
They literally flat out tell you that Achilles wasn't aware of this. He believes that the earthquake happened before the assassin reached the artifact, the temple. As far as we know, there's nothing for Achilles to connect the dots here. The worst part is, this is not only just one big communication error. Shay turned rogue because of a communication error. One could say that Achilles kept information in the shadows, but there's nothing to confirm this theory. Shay is making assumptions here. Achilles didn't know jack shit. Imagine being in Achilles' shoes here. A guy named Shay Patrick Cormac, who has shown little care for your cause, storms into your room, screaming, yelling bloody murder that you are responsible for the death of thousands of innocent people and the destruction of cities, and purposely sent Shay unknowingly on a mission to kill thousands of innocent people by just tampering him with an artifact. Not only are you just confused, the guy literally tries to get close to you like he's about to jump you and beat you up. You could replace his dialogue with that of a dog or a goat and it will still make as much sense.
Peter Smite! What happened in Haiti happened in a great earthquake. Thousands dead thanks to your This cannot be.
Shay, a person cannot start an earthquake!
A person meddling with these precursor machines could. You saw the box, Hope. The temple was filled to bursting with that kind of power. You made me...
How dare you!
You defend him?
He throws words at you without explaining exactly or why the artifact in the temple triggered an earthquake. Achilles says that the mission was delicate and perhaps Shay did something wrong, but this is not a confirmation that Achilles purposely sent him into a death trap. It could mean that he knew about the temple, but not how it was related with earthquakes or how they were triggered, and that Shay maybe did something wrong. But okay, I will try to buy that Achilles knew this, okay? I will try to buy that. Why wouldn't he say this to Shay? If you're afraid he will not do it, then send Chevrolet or someone else with him so that she can point him or her in the right direction. And then maybe, I don't know, just don't tell both of them what will happen if you touch the artifact. Okay? Like, I don't know. Or you say try to remove the artifact without causing an earthquake. I don't know. I'm just trying to find a solution for this. All of this is just so fake. Also, if Achilles was aware of the consequences, then he violated the tenets of the creed. The tenets that the assassin should live by. So shouldn't that not demote him from his rank status as a mentor of the colonial brotherhood? If you break the tenets, there are consequences to that. In the good old days, we used to stab our assassin if he or she killed even one innocent person, or brought an army with them that slaughtered innocent civilians and brought the brotherhood in danger. What Achilles was doing by his sending his brothers and sisters to the temple, plus allowing assassin's flags to be hanged everywhere in cities. I know this because I was there. Look, that is me. If he was aware and Shay explains in full detail with evidence, Achilles could get in big trouble. But because Shay does such a shit job at doing so, he gets escorted out of the room by Liam with the help of Hope. Speaking of hope, she doesn't believe a person can start an earthquake.
Shay, a person cannot start an earthquake.
This is very interesting from a story point of view. Maybe hope can help us and even get her own small story arc. You see, my fellow gamers and viewers, Achilles saved her from the streets when she was still a little child and gave her a place in the Brotherhood where she not only felt home but had a roof over her head. Now imagine that she is confronted that the man she knew, the man who saved her from the streets, doesn't mind using her and everyone else to murder thousands of innocent civilians, breaking the creed and sending her friends into death traps. There's real dramatic weight there for a good story, where she questions where her loyalties lie, with a friend or the man who basically adopted her into a new life. All of this potential for awesome storytelling, character development and more, but it's all put aside to give us the most simplistic assassins aren't that good and Templars aren't that evil story there is. And Shay even contradicts his own motivations. He defects from the Brotherhood because he killed innocent people, so he can join the Templars so that he can blow up poisonous gas containers in a populated area in New York City filled with innocent people. Isn't that fucking great? He joins the Templars who don't mind ending the lives of innocent for the New World Order, so he could stop the death of innocent people. This sounds so ridiculous. He joins the Order, which has a long history track of attacking cities, so he can save cities from destruction. I am confused, like what? Liam hurries to the room hearing the commotion, and by the orders of Achilles, he escorts Shay out of the room. Shay who is unguarded. Wait, why is he unguarded? If I was Shay and I went through this, I would tell every living soul in the homestead what has happened. I will even try to persuade people to get on my side or contact other assassins overseas. Also, wouldn't you not be unstable like hell? Would you not be so unstable that you even might consider suicide? Shay tells us that Liam told him to just let it go cause he wants to inherit the mentor title. I don't know really, it probably was a communication error. And that he doesn't care that Achilles' family is dead. And there's no excuse for this level of madness. So he takes upon himself to steal the manuscript from Achilles. And what will he do after that? Well, I don't know really, probably run as far away as he can. Making his way to the manor, we see Achilles standing in front of the window turning off the light. Shay places his hand on the doorknob and whoa, it just opens. Okay, does he have the key or did Achilles forgot to lock the door? Was he expecting Shay to come back and infiltrate his house? You might think I might complain about that we don't see Achilles in the house itself if he just goof around. And yes, it does sort of break the immersion, but the only excuse I can find for it in the lore is that Shay didn't see him before you activate the cutscene, so he wouldn't be able to remember Achilles waiting in a corner. Finally, something that makes sense. I'm gonna enjoy it as long as it lasts.
There's no turning back now.
I had such hopes for you, Shay.
Achilles.
The camera shows Achilles as an intimidating villain, and Shay knows that he is screwed. Even if he escapes, Achilles will immediately start hunting him down. But try to see this scene from Achilles' point of view. The most disrespectful assassin around who blames you for the death of thousands of people, breaks into your home and is gonna steal your stuff. But not just any ordinary stuff, but precursor stuff. Honestly, I feel more bad for Achilles here, because all of this is just one giant communication error. Hell, all of this might have been avoided if they just listened to one another. Isn't it sad to know that the lives of Hope, Liam and everyone else could have been saved if they just sit down and talk to each other? Shay's trying to argue that they don't have the right to decide their future, but Shay, I would argue that someone else someday might find the artifacts. It's not impossible. Achilles, realizing that Shay won't be calmed down, it's not like he was doing his best to calm him down because plot, decides to attack him. He throws Shay at the window, which could go really bad if he fell through it and landed on the manuscript, and 10 to the ground. Shay kicks him away and jumps through the broken window, luckily landing in the snow to break his fall. Now this is where the fun begins.
This is where the fun begins.
Achilles yells,
Assassins! Stop him! Stop Shay!
and then suddenly out of nowhere, cannon mortar fire is opened on a homestead by Chevrolet. Okay, what the hell? Achilles said stop Shay, not assassins use mortar fire to obliterate Shay, destroy him, and bring me back what he has stolen. Second of all, how did Chevrolet hear Achilles? Was it some form of ecovision? Did he use ecovision in that exact moment to open fire at the homestead? And what made him think he needed to use mortar fire to stop Shay? What if he accidentally hits the manor and his brothers and sisters? Was this planned by Achilles? Were they all just standing in one room together and Achilles said, okay, my brothers and sisters, I am most likely sure that Shay will try to steal the manuscript, so please stay up all night. And if I fail to stop him, and you see my head out of a certain window yelling, stop Shay, obliterate everything around the manor. But Mentor, I have a few questions. What if Shay kills you? What if you're knocked out? And why would we use stop asking me completely logical questions? The assassins search the area to find Shay, to stop him. If they find you or see you, they will try to kill you on sight. Achilles did not say kill Shay, cut him down. So why are you trying to kill him? What if they damage the manuscript pages? Then this will all be for nothing. All the destruction and bloodshed will just be a waste of time. Chevrolet causes more chaos and destruction than it's worth. Wait, what? Why did Liam place a barrel there? Wait, where did Liam get a barrel from? Does Achilles have explosive barrels just lying around somewhere? And if you knew Shay was coming that way, wouldn't it be better to place it in a corner to blow him away? You're clearly trying to kill him. Why not try to jump on him? Shoot at him. You just blocked the way for your fellow assassins to catch him even. Hope appears out of thin air when Liam disappears for no reason and yells, you will not hinder our plans, Shay. What do you mean hinder your plans? Have you learned in less than a minute that Shay stole the manuscript? Has Achilles informed you that, you know what, fuck it, I'm not even gonna bother with that one. If you fight the assassins and defeat them, she says things like,
how could you, Shay?
And I'm like, bitch, they tried to kill me. Sure, that's okay, but if I defend myself, oh hell no. Do you see what I mean with a communication error? All this destruction, killing, and unnecessary violence happens because of that. In AC Revelations, the Altair levels, the assassins tried to kill him because Abbas ordered him dead, and Altair just killed one of his own. We can't have such simple logic here, can we? There is nowhere left to go. Shay is trapped. Hope demands that Shay gives them back the manuscript. But my attention goes to Chevrolet. I thought he was flying from his ship on the homestead. Is he this good at fast traveling? Can we just not talk about that Chevrolet just tried to bombard everyone near the manor? Well, I guess there's no time for that. Should they just not all be demoted from their ranks because they are so horrible at this? And I cannot just stop stressing this enough. All of this happened because of communication errors. You guys tried to kill him when Achilles clearly said stop Shay. Shay did a bad job at explaining what happened in the temple to Hope and Achilles. And all of this could just have been avoided if they just listened to one another. Jesus, who wrote this? Is there something wrong with the memories? Is it a virus? Like, what? And this is where I will end the video. Of course I have more to say, but I feel like this was enough for now. I'm open for criticism, and if I missed something, tell me in the comment section down below. And I hope you have a fun day or night wherever you are.